Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Green Table on this Thursday evening. I'm so excited that you are joining me tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about busting some of the myths of the credit score and credit reports. There's so much wrong, false information that people have started to believe about credit scores and credit reports. And we're just going to set the record straight tonight. And also, I want to talk about Andrew Luck. So there was a big controversy last weekend about him retiring, and I want to talk it through so we can understand exactly or kind of get a feel for what happened and my thoughts on it coming from a biblical money perspective on that. So we'll talk about Andrew later, but first of all, do me a favor, please help me spread the word. If you can share this video, hopefully you can hear me. If there's issues, let me know because I got a new camera / microphone hookup duo, what have you, and I'm hoping this all turns out well. So if you're joining in, go ahead and share the video, like the video, partner with me in the sense that I'm trying to get this information out to as many people as possible. And if you would partner with me, all that entails is that you sharing the video, sharing the information, letting people know that this resource is available to them to help them through some of their money issues. So partner with me, share the video, be on my team. So again, if I haven't introduced myself, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Merrie Allen. I am the founder of Money Management Wisdom, which is a business that I've created to educate and inspire individuals to manage their money in a way that will allow them to reach their financial goals and basically to live their best life. When your money is right, then pretty much the rest of your life is going to go smoothly. So what I would like you to do also is to go to my website at moneymanagementwisdom.net. Check it out. You can also contact me for workshops, speaking engagements, and things of that nature. I'll be happy to come and talk to your group, your church group, your retreat, your community group, your book club, whatever you want me to do. I'm available. That's what I do. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it and talking about the common myths about credit scores. So one thing to note is that a lot of people believe that you have to carry a balance in your credit on your credit card to build your credit. And so that's myth number one. You do not have to carry a balance in order for you to build credit. You merely have to manage the credit, manage what you have responsibly, as in paying your balances actually off or paying your bill on time every month and keeping your balances low. But you don't necessarily have to have a balance. Like, it's not mandatory to keep a balance in order for your credit score to be healthy or to benefit. That's myth number one. Number two is closing out your credit cards will boost your credit score. In fact, that's quite the opposite. When you close out your card, say you pay a card off, and then you say, oh, I'm not going to use that anymore, it just gets me in trouble, call the company, write them or whatever, and you say, close this account out, I don't need it anymore. That's a bad move, and I'll explain why that's bad later. But basically, when you have credit that you're not using, there's this called a utilization rate, and I want to cover that a little later in the presentation. But when you close out a card, the amount of credit available to you is less. So when you use credit on another credit card or another credit account, you're using your utilization rate, the rate that amount of credit that you're using to the amount that's available is going to be higher because you closed out those accounts those credit accounts that was giving you more limit, more credit to use, and that's not a good thing. So when you use more of the credit that's available to you, that's a ding, that's a hit, that's a negative. Myth number three is employers check your credit scores. Now, you've heard this and maybe it's been confusing, but employers do not have access to your credit scores. Now, they do have access to your credit reports, which on the back end can kind of allude to the type of score that you may have based on what they see on your report. So in any event, it's better to just keep your credit report healthy, do what you need to do to keep things nice and clean, because they can look at your report to kind of see how you have been behaving with your credit. Okay, so no, they can't see your score, but yes, they can see your credit report. Myth number 4, Checking your credit hurts your score. Checking your credit does not hurt your score. If you're checking it from one of these little credit bureau agencies like Credit Karma or credit, they have these little companies. Those are called educational scores, and you're initiating those of your own accord just to kind of keep track of how your score is doing. Those don't hurt your credit score. The credit inquiries that will hurt your credit score are called hard inquiries. What you're doing with Credit Karma is like a soft inquiry. But when you initiate a check or a credit score check to actually apply for credit, that's when it starts to hurt your credit score. And particularly if you're doing that in a short amount of, or frequently, if you constantly open up, checking, trying to get, maybe you checking for a mortgage. That's why when you're going for a mortgage, they'll tell you, don't apply for any more credit, because they don't like to see that you're having all those hard inquiries. They think you're about to get yourself in trouble. So be careful about that. Myth number 5, okay, about your credit score, your credit report. You and your spouse can have a joint credit report. You and your spouse, your husband, your wife you can't have a joint. I know sometimes we all, want to be as one and all of that. And sometimes that works to our advantage, but you do not have a joint credit report or score. Each individual has their own credit on their own accord. Their use and their behavior as it relates to credit is reported just to their credit report. Now, if you open a joint account, you get a car in both your names, or your house in both your names, or credit cards in both your names, then yes, that behavior is going to be reflected on both of your individual credit reports. But there's no such thing as a joint credit report for married couples or spouses. Myth number 6, you must have a high income to have a high score. Your income is not reported to the credit agencies, credit scoring agencies. So they could care less what your income is. All they're concerned about is how you are behaving as it relates to using credit. Okay. So whether you make $12,000 a year or whether you make $112,000 a year, they don't care about that. That's not reflected in your credit score or your credit report. But how you're managing that $12,000 or that $112,000 will definitely be a factor. Myth number 7, you need to go into debt to have a good credit score. No, you don't need to go into debt to have a good credit score. In fact, the more debt you have, the more balances you have, then that's going to be a problem, because again, remember we talked about the utilization rate. The more debt that you're using in relation to the amount of credit line or credit limit available to you is going to hurt you. And there's a certain percentage there. When you get to 30%, then or more, when you get over 30% usage, then you're going to have some issues with your credit report, your credit score. So that's myth number 7. Myth number 8. If you're paying off a debt, it erases it off of your credit report. That's not necessarily the case. Just because you pay a debt off, and depending on what the condition of that, doesn't mean that it disappears from your credit report, especially if it's a debt that you paid off that was in collections, or it was delinquent, or you had been missing payments on, or what have you. Those can stay on up to 7 years. So just because you pay it off doesn't mean that it disappears. Now, there are some things that you can do. You can write a letter requesting that once you pay it off, that they would erase the debt. But that would have to be an agreement between you and the creditor that they would agree to. Sometimes they'll reach out to you and offer that. And if you pay me, so much on this, and then, we'll get it removed, or we'll take it off, have it removed off your credit report. And sometimes if you get one of those, you want to take that. But most times you have to initiate that letter asking that it be removed. It's called a pay for delete letter. So I pay you, you get it deleted off my credit report. Okay, so That's one thing. Or you can ask for it to be removed due to goodwill. So if you have an account on your report that's been delinquent, or it's just it was in a negative situation, but you were doing well in all other aspects of your credit, you were paying all your other cards on time, you never missed a mortgage payment or a car payments, everything, you can ask them to remove it from your that delinquent one from your report based on your good behavior everywhere else. So you can say, hey, I'm really not a bad person, I really do try to pay my bills. This was just a fluke or whatever it was. Would you please, remove it? And there are certain letters and templates that you can find online to help you do that. Okay. So how we doing so far? Busting some myths for you? Cool. So number 9, the 9th myth buster is that companies claim that they can remove stuff from your credit report, or they can fix these credit repair services, so they can fix. Now, I'm not going to offend anybody, because I know there are a lot of people out there that are into the credit repair, helping people repair, and that word I'm not real comfortable with, but helping people fix their credit report or their credit score. But the truth of the matter is, if you're not willing to do the work yourself, or you can't for whatever reason, yes, they can be of a service to you. But if you're willing to do the work, write the letters, clean, there are things you can do to clean up your report that won't cost you $300 to $400 or whatever it is that they're charging these days. I believe it's around $300 or so, give or take, that they're charging you to fix your credit score. And basically, what they're doing is just probably creating a plan for you to pay off your debt in a timely manner. But you can, the things that you need to do to fix your own credit score to get it right is basically pay your bills on time. Don't miss any payments. Keep your debt balances at a minimum. And I'll explain why all that's important. Diversify your credit, meaning you want, if you have credit, you have installment credit and revolving credit, which is your credit cards. Installment credit accounts are accounts like your car or your mortgage. There's a set amount that you must pay every month, and then once you pay those off, those accounts are automatically closed. Those are called installment accounts, as opposed to revolving accounts, which are credit cards, meaning when you pay off some of the balance, then there's that amount that you paid off is available to you again. So it revolves. Like, it never closes, unless you close it, but you pay some down, you can use that again. You pay some down, you can use, those are called revolving. Companies that claim they can fix your report, your credit score, ask them specifically, what is it that they're going to do? Nobody can get rid of your student. There's a lot of advertisements out there, and I personally thought these things were illegal, the way that some of these are being stated, that, we can help you get rid of your student loan. That's a big one, because they know that's a big bait for people, because so many people are in student loan debt. So they will say, yeah, we can help you clear your student loan. And that is not the case. They can't help you. You're going to clear your student loan by paying your student loan bill. That's how you're going to clear your student loan. Some of the stuff is hard work. It's, but stuff you got to do, right? To get where you need to. You didn't get into debt like overnight. And so it's going to take a long time to clear up these credit issues. It's a process for these people to say, raise your credit score 200 points overnight, and stuff like that. If it sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. Okay, and somebody's just trying to run a scam on you. Now, there are legitimate credit repair, as they call themselves, services who will help you walk through the process, but there's no magic button. Nobody can get stuff removed from your credit. They're going to have you look for anything that's that's erroneous. If something is on your credit report and it's accurate, it's correct, it's not in error, it's a true reflection of what happened, it's not coming off your report. Okay, so people that promise you that they can take bad stuff off if it's legitimately supposed to be on there, it's staying on there. So don't believe the hype. Again, there's some things you can do. Now, let me just explain. I don't have time to go into this. I think I do. But I wanted to explain to you, some people ask me, I get this question a lot, why is my credit score on one site one thing, and then it's it's like 40 points or 20 points or whatever, it's different on another reporting agency? Well, That's because the ones that you go like on Credit Karma, those are they give you like an educational score. It's not really a true score. It's not the same score that the mortgage companies are using or the car loan people are using. So that's why, sometimes you may say, well, my Credit Karma said I have this, then I went to buy this car and it says, it's 20 points lower. What's the deal? Well, that's the reason. Also, different credit bureaus will score differently. So they may use different criteria or different analytics, different categories of transactions or what have you to create your credit score. The three credit agencies, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, they may use three different models. And then within those models themselves, there's other submodels that they're using. So it's a very complicated process. So, to begin to understand how they actually make up your score is far beyond a whole lot of people's understanding or even willingness to understand, because it is a complicated process. But just know that that's why they may differ sometimes among the different bureaus, because the way that they build your score, they use different, and they analyze things different. So that's the reason for that. Your Credit Karma score, somebody says mine is always lower than the FICO or whatever. Again, that's an educational score. If you notice, when you go to those sites and you get your score from the Credit Karmas or whatever, they offer you all kinds of, if your score is such and such, you can increase your score by taking out another loan, or, yeah. They're offering you all kinds of products, and that's how those sites are able to offer you those free scores, because they make their money by enticing you to do, to get more credit, or recommending a certain credit card for you. According to your score and your report, this would be a great card for you to get. So they're not really helping you. Yeah, they do a service, but if you're one of those ones that's easily sucked in by those marketing tactics, it sounds like, wow, this is a really cool site. They're really helping me out. But you got to be able to read between the lines, or be able to see what's right in front of you. Is that, okay, if chances are, if you're checking your credit score that frequently, they kind of can create a demographic of people that are coming back, constantly checking their credit score. They're going to market things to that person because they feel like that person is already a person that likes to use credit. You may already be in credit trouble, whatever. So to you, your profile, as much as you're checking all of that, they're building up all of this information, and they're creating patterns and logarithms or whatever when you're logging into the site and all of that. And they're saying, yeah, this person, they're analyzing you and your behavior. This is an easy target. So let's throw this advertisement at them. Let's throw this credit card. Let's tell them this. So it's a whole money maker thing. Yeah, they may be helping you, but it's designed to help themselves more than it is to help you. So you just need to understand that. And what I wanted to do, but I really want to talk about our friend Andrew Luck, who had a not too good weekend, some folks would say. Next week, I'm going to talk about what makes up your credit score. We'll continue that, but I want to make sure that I get this in because I did advertise. We're going to talk about Andrew Luck. So, not a huge football fan by any means. I used to be when the Buffalo Bills, because that's my hometown, Buffalo, shout out to Buffalo, New York. So I used to be a really big fan of the Buffalo Bills and football in general. But then as along the way, I guess I just kind of got out of it, but couldn't help because this story was like all over the news on the weekend. And I'm like, what is the deal? Why are they making such a big deal out of Andrew Luck? If you haven't heard, which I would find it hard to believe because it was like all over the place, but Andrew Luck apparently was the outstanding quarterback, was for the Indianapolis Colts. Apparently he was a golden boy, great quarterback. They gave him millions of dollars, but he had endured a number of injuries throughout his 7-year career, and I guess the last few years it was, he was in and out of injury rehab, and then he finally, I guess, made the decision that he couldn't take it anymore, and so he retired. He announced his retirement. Well, actually, a news station or whatever had announced it before he was ready to actually announce it. But so then he had to go ahead and, fess up to it and hold a little mini, little news, whatever media spot to tell people, press conference, that's the word I was looking for, exactly, what he was doing, what was happening. And so he was trying to go through and he was telling them, he felt stuck. He struggled with the decision. And no doubt, because this is a game that he loved, that he was getting paid millions of dollars to perform. He was out there giving it his all. He pretty much sacrificed his health, his body, to play this game. And he was explaining to people, well, I've just come to a point basically I just really don't want to do this anymore. I'm not able to live the life that I want to live. I'm ready to move on. He was tired of the recycling of the rehab and the injuries. And honestly, I can't understand why he wanted to do that. But oh my goodness, and one of the things he did say, he said the joy was not there anymore. It has his injury and the things that he was going through had taken the joy from him, had joy of the game. He didn't have it anymore. So my thing is, when you're doing something and you're grinding and you're giving it your all, and you come to a point where you sacrificed enough and you just feel like you just can't do it anymore, you agonize over the decision on what to do, and then you make your decision and you think that people would be like, good for you, Andrew, good choice. Oh my goodness, it was the exact opposite. I could not believe they were showing the clip where he was walking off the field, and his own fans, these same people that were yelling when he was doing all great, woo-hoo, you're the man, whatever, Andrew, da, da, da. Now they're booing him for making a decision for his life, for his future. The guy already has millions of dollars. And, the criticism that he was getting is, is he really hurt? Yeah, his injuries, are they really as bad as he says they are? And, what's the real deal? Like they couldn't figure out, and here's the thing that got me. They couldn't figure out why at 29 years of age that he would walk away from millions of dollars. Millions, like $64 million more is what he would have gotten had he finished his contract. But what does that say, though? What does that say about Andrew Luck? And then what does that say about the way that the majority or many people responded to his decision? What does that say? Like, where are the values? Let's talk about Andrew first. When you get to a point where you just can't do it anymore, and this will be a good lesson for all of us, chasing the money is not always, the right thing to do. If it's not right anymore, then it's not right. It doesn't matter, the chase for the that big, to be wealthy or to be rich or whatever. If you're hurting yourself, he's got a new wife, they're having a baby. These things start going through your mind. So in his mind, I'm thinking his priority was to be healthy and to be able to live a measure of a good, physical, healthy life with his family, wanting to be able to play with his kid, so I applaud him for making that sacrifice, and saying, hey, I just can't do it anymore. It's too much. I'm not living the life on my terms like I want to. I don't have joy in it anymore. And he made a decision to go in a different direction. What was all the hoopla about? Some of us really need to take notes from what he did, actually. Some of us are going at different things, different projects, different, goals or whatever. And sometimes you got to take a step back. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, everybody should pursue their dreams at, whatever cost. Don't give up. Don't be a quitter, this, that, the other. But you got to know what you're working for, what you're working towards, and you got to know more than anything why you're doing it and what is it costing you. It's like that Kenny Rogers song. Like, you could be going along and he's like, you got to know when to fold them. You got to know when to hold them. Know when to fold them. Know when to walk away. Know when to run. That's how we have to be. You have to know when is your time. You know, it's okay to have goals. And so again, I applaud Andrew for the decision that he made. And you know, the principle behind that is that he, you know, let me give you the biblical principle behind that is that we're not our possessions. You know, we're not defined by the things that we have, by the things that we can acquire. And it'll tell us that in Luke 12:14 that we're not measured by the stuff that we get. At the time he retired, Andrew had $29 million. Like if you got $29 million, really, what difference is $64 million going to make in your life? I mean, how much stuff can you buy? You know, how much traveling can you do? How much more investing can you do? I mean, you can still invest, but I'm saying, what would be the purpose? You're retiring, he's retiring with $29 million, and people thought he was crazy. They think he's crazy because he's not going after the $64 million. When is enough ever going to be enough? We got to know when enough is enough. And also we got to not, you know, we have to be careful about, you know, it's good to have money and the things that money can buy, but it's also good to know that, you know, to have those things that money can't buy. And sometimes we work so much at what we can buy, things we can get, that the things that are really valuable that we say are our priorities, like, you know, our families or what have you, other things, you know, our calling, our missions, our purpose, whatever, you know, we say that those things are important to us. But then if we're so much into the grind that you cannot enjoy those things, you cannot spend time doing the things that bring you joy, you know, bring you happiness, that makes you fulfilled, because you're too busy chasing the almighty dollar, or you haven't in your mind decided enough, you know, when is enough, you know, that can be a problem, you know. And then in Ecclesiastes, one more principle before I leave, got a couple minutes. So whoever loves money, you know, if you live for it, if you play for it, you're working obsessively for money and to build wealth and all of that. Ecclesiastes, King Solomon tells us you're never going to have enough, because if you love, if that's what you love, that's your drive, is to get more money, you're never going to have enough. Because whatever you get, because you love it so much, you're going to keep going on and keep going for more. Meantime, your life and those things and those people that you value are getting left behind. So it's a balancing act. You know, there's nothing wrong with acquiring wealth. Know why you're going after what you're going after as it relates to money and becoming wealthy. Know why you want those things, okay? Because sometimes money and material things, they have a way of like we get a blind spot from what's important when we lose a sense of, you know, what's truly valuable when we're so obsessed with making the almighty dollar. So that's what I wanted to bring out with Andrew Luck. Leave Andrew Luck alone. He made his decision for his own reasons, and it doesn't matter what we think. It's his decision, and he wasn't concerned about the other 64 million. Come on, you got $20 million. Just give me $1 million right now. I think I'll be okay. I wouldn't know what to do with that to make that increase. So anyway, so that's our show for today. Again, thank you for joining the Green Table. I will remind you that these books that I have written as an author are available: Money Management Wisdom for Millennials, and also Money Management Wisdom, 8 Steps to Living Your Best Life. These are both available on Amazon.com, but you can go through my website to access these books. And also while you're at the website, there's some other information in there. You can also fill out a form if you would like me to be a speaker or present a workshop for you, because I can't get everything in these little half-hour shows. And there's so much more information and so much hands-on things that we can do for personal finance to help you guys out, you know, reach your financial goals. That's better done in a workshop setting. So feel free to contact me, moneymanagementwisdom.net. For the access, for if you want me to come and talk to your groups. Also, I created what we call the Green Room, So look for that in a Facebook group. It's called the Green Room. That's where we continue the conversation from the green table. Like I said, it's not enough time to do it here, but we continue that conversation. I want you to open up in discussion, discuss, some of the things we talked about, or whatever you want to talk about that's personal finance related is designed so that the people that come in who are members can help one another. I had an issue with this, and I don't know, how did you resolve it? Have you guys ever ran into this situation? So that's kind of what that format is to be like. Again, share the video. Partner with me in helping to spread this word and spread, personal finance information. This is free stuff. You can give to people. Next week, I am going to cover the 5 points, 5 areas. When you're talking about cleaning up your credit score, you got to know what it is and what makes it up so you know which area to focus on. So next week, we're going to talk about what actually makes up your credit score. I'll probably have another little interesting tidbit of topic to add in there too. So again, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. Don't forget to visit the website, moneymanagementwisdom.net. You also visit the Money Management Wisdom page. So it's all on Facebook. Go out there, do a search, and look for everything. Appreciate you, and we will see you next time. Thank you.